So my cup says, I don't need Google. My father knows everything.
I like that.
You like that? You got to guess. Now, what does yours say?
Yeah. Okay. So mine, it
Welcome,
simply
Lisa.
says, I am enough.
Explain.
I love it. I love it. It just simply means that if you can't accept me for who I am, then I don't know what to tell you, because you get what you get.
Got you.
You get what you get.
Got you. Will, where's your cup? Okay, Will's going to get his cup.
And I hope you have your hot chocolate.
Yes, whatever it is that you're drinking, as Tabitha Brown says, that's your business. So I have mine is hot chocolate. Well, what do you have? What's your mug say?
My alma mater, LU Lincoln University.
Okay.
I'm alumni there, just shouting.
Okay.
Nice.
Of course, Kennedy Griffith.
All right.
You graduated there. Just want to shout that out too. Make sure since it's based.
I hear you. I definitely hear you. All right. So hot chocolate, hot topic. Welcome everyone that's coming in. It's good to have you. We're just doing introductions right now. Hot topic, hot chocolate, or hot chocolate, hot topics. Hopefully my hot chocolate's not getting cold. No, it's still warm. So let's talk. There's a few things going on in Willingboro that we need to discuss, right? And so what are they? It's one thing for us to tell you, but it's another thing for you to share with us. Okay.
Yeah, because as I mentioned before, there's so much that goes on in Willingboro that you would never know it unless somebody told you, because unfortunately we don't get a lot of information, through the media. I mean, there are those of us who have pages and groups, and we do our best when it comes to sharing information, but we just, I wish that there was more that we could get, more information that we could get regarding the programs, activities, different things that are available here in our township, in our community. There's a lot that's happening, and I really want to hear from the community as far as, what's on their minds regarding what's newsworthy that they may feel is not being covered by the news or by local media.
Right. So talk to us. Feel free to use the chat and Facebook. Mr. Terry, if you're on Facebook, can you also look at that? I want to make sure that I let the people in the waiting room know.
Yes, I'm trying to access it right now. Okay.
And I brought Will in and I brought Dawn in. Well, there's about 15 people in the waiting room. And I am skeptical about bringing everybody on because
unless there's somebody familiar, I wouldn't recommend putting anybody in because they're playing games tonight.
This is why we do registration, right? All right. So
right.
What's the first topic? What's the first topic? If you and Will can get that conversation going, I'm going to go on Facebook and delete the other. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. Do that, please.
Well, I know you were talking about, what's newsworthy in Willingboro. I think that's a two-sided thing. Oftentimes, certain things aren't promoted, and there's things that we as residents should want to know. Some of the big topics that are out there now is, of course, our water with the PFAS, and another big topic is the new town manager. We just acquired a new permanent town manager. So these are some of the topics that are worthy of Willingboro, and even the understanding of the government, the importance of a town manager, and of course your health on PFAS. But there's numerous subjects in that area, and we as residents have to want to know it. But also these things can be known, but just a way to promote them and get them into the consciousness of the residents. That's something that, and I'm sure you understand, Terry, which is trying to get this type of information to the residents. Like, how do you get what happened to your neighbor, that fire down the street or whatever? How do you get this information to the residents directly?
Yeah, I definitely agree, because that's always been the difficult part. We post information on our social media platforms, but I know that for Borough TV, that's pretty much all we have right now, social media platforms and also our website. But I wish that there were better ways to reach the masses, those people who don't have access, because especially when things happen like fires, Borough TV, we love to go out and cover stories like this, because we want to be helpful. We want to help, our fellow community members when they're at their worst. Something happens and they lose, things to a fire. We want to be able to assist in a way that puts the information out to the public so that people can know how to donate, how to help this family to rebuild, things like that. But unfortunately, our reach is so limited because we're only putting that information out on social media. But
Yeah, so
mhm.
no, I was just going to add the consistency. One thing that I think that other that Borough TV does, but that other, I guess, outlets or other social media places, because I look at Borough TV as a pocket. There's other pockets of residents out there in different groups, as you know, but it's the consistency. Whatever the platform is, if it's consistent and continues to provide information, people will tend to grow. And I don't want to be so much on Borough TV, but I see how it's grown from being consistent and continually putting things out there, being involved in community events and being present. That's another thing that people who are interested in getting information out there, if you're present at a event, or just showing up and posting up, even if it's uh your personal social media page. So that, but definitely the consistency and just being committed to getting the information out there.
Absolutely. And the commitment is definitely there because we care about the community. And I know that there are so many other people in our community that care just as much. I definitely want to put it out there for those, and just in case they don't know, if you go to our website, boroughTV.us, there's a button on there. You can click it to become a contributor. We welcome contributions from any and everyone in the community who would like to be a part of getting information out to the public. Anyone who wants to, talk on camera, or if you just want to write an article, we welcome all contributions, photos, whatever you got. So if you visit our website, it'll show you how to become a contributor and how to get the information to us so that we can share it on our social media pages. But what do you think that we're missing in Willingboro? Because I know we cover basically whatever information that we receive. And I got to be honest, most of the information I get, it's information that I see on social media. When people post certain things, that's sort of my ear to the ground. But I feel like it's not enough because there's a lot more information out there other than what's being posted on social media. So I feel like, what is it that you believe that we're missing when it comes to news in Willingboro or in our area?
Well, I think that, and if I could take this, I think that the news, we're elite, especially Borough TV, they're doing a good job of collecting it, but connecting it with the people. I think that's where a big part of the disconnect is. And this is something I definitely think about. It may take getting physical materials, maybe yard signs, or a flyer in the JFK Center, but a high traffic area, but something to direct people or even to let them know. And I'm going to plug the reorg meeting coming up on January 4th. Just that it took me until I was an adult to know that the mayor is elected at this first meeting of the year. Well, this year is going to be in January 4th at currently scheduled at the JFK Center, but our new mayor will be elected, it may be the same mayor, but that's when they elect the mayor for the year. But getting that key information out to residents so they understand, and I don't know if we have to advertise it. And when I say we as a community have to advertise that through physical materials. I'm not sure how, because I see you do an excellent job on social media, making sure that Borough TV is constantly updated, all types of good personal interest stories, uplifting stories, the supporting of the police and fire and EMS and those type of things. But there may be different outlets. I think part of that would be the physical materials, but of course comes with that, it costs money. That's going to take a little bit more, and to make that leap. And that's why I look at it as twofold. It's one fold on different types of media other than social media, and maybe TV, etc., radio, just different ways but also I think as residents, we can take a step. We don't have to, but we can take a step because things are done. Is just knowing where to get the information from.
Right, right. No, I definitely agree. I think that's the main part that this disconnect exists is the sources, just knowing where to get the information. I'm grateful that every now and then, people when they see different things happening around town, they'll reach out, they'll inbox Borough TV and let us know, hey, this is happening over here. You should come check it out. And we welcome that. We look forward to hearing from people, when things like that are happening, and we want to be there whenever we can. We also need more people to be a part of it because this we don't have enough. I
Yes,
can't
and
be at everything, of course.
yeah, I know. I don't, and I think that's something that we can get out here is that other people can be contributors to Borough TV. I'm just a contributor, Borough TV. If I see something, I
Right.
can share it on Borough TV. But it's not, I know you're open to the residents doing that, and I think also if we can get and I'm going to say this, I don't know if this is going to be right, but a younger crowd. But there's different pockets, even in social media, that we're not touching or out there or communicate. But if they can connect with Borough TV or even another Willingboro platform, I mean, as long as the information hits different pockets of people, I think there's a segment of the population that interacts with Borough TV, but I'm sure there's a lot of under 20 people who have their groups and pages and maybe on IG or TikTok or that has Willingboro curated material and content that if it can connect, so because that's relevant too. Even if it's a different age group or different types of events, that's relevant too to Willingboro news.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we appreciate WHYY. You do these type of
Oh
events
yes.
uh, that we can talk about and generate ideas on how to spread the word of what's going on in Willingboro.
Oh, definitely. WHYY has been a godsend, assisting us to move forward with Borough TV in order to strengthen the platform and get more information out to the community, because that's our aim, is to just be a stronghold in the community in a good way, something that the community can rely on for information as it pertains to our area and also even the surrounding areas. So I really appreciate WHYY, Dr. Amy Dean, of course, and Will, you for all of your contributions. I know we talked, Dr. Amy Dean and I, recently about some things in Willingboro that people walk past on a regular basis and don't realize what it is. I just recently found out that the building, the small building outside of our municipal building, is actually a school. It was a school from like many years ago, and we're planning on doing something with that. Learning the history of it and sharing the history with the people in the community, because you'd be surprised how many people ride past that on a regular basis and have no idea that it exists. They see the structure, but we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So things like that, I feel like could be newsworthy to share with our community. That, and also that spaceship-like structure that we have in Mill Creek Park. I've done some research on that, and it actually happens to be a very popular structure. It's a popular piece that was created by a Finnish architect, and they have an entire website. They have a social media presence talking about the future of home, and we definitely want to do something with that as well, so that people will have an opportunity to get information about what it is, and
Yes,
hopefully maybe even purpose it at some point.
yes, no doubt. There's a lot of history that we walk right past every day in Willingboro. Something that I discovered this year was that Ben Franklin's son stayed here. He was the governor of New Jersey, and he stayed in Willingboro, right off Beverly Rand, if the corner of Beverly Rand Cocos and JFK. It's just an open field right now, but there's a plaque and a sign there, and even some of our roads. Of course, we know Levitt Parkway, and who that is. I mean, but I hope that new residents would understand who Levitt is. But Van Sciver and Sidney Bookbinder, these are people who had lives and had an impact on Willingboro. Now, it's good to know. It's just, if you're into the town like that and you've been raised here, this is information that it is good to know the history. So, and even, well, of course, the history of African Americans here. You know, there's a whole lot that's behind the history of Willingboro.
No, I definitely agree. And since I moved here, I was so interested in the history of Willingboro, and I'm glad that I had the privilege of meeting with some people who were very knowledgeable. Those who grew up in Willingboro, some of them were born and raised here, who would tell me stories of how Willingboro used to be. And in hearing those stories, I would always have the question in my mind: why can't we work to make it even better than it was before? You know, they talk about how Willingboro used to have flowers everywhere. You know, when you're driving down Levitt Parkway or Van Skyver Parkway, and there would be beds of flowers in the middle. A lot of the corner properties would have all kinds of gardens and just a lot of beautiful things about the town that existed years ago. And I'm wondering, I know that we could never work backwards and go back to the way things used to be, but is it possible to make Willingboro better than it's ever been?
Oh, definitely, and well, definitely, and I think part of that is us connecting again. There are things in motion. I just want to, since I'm involved in a couple things, I do want to mention the Willingboro Neighborhood Watch, which meets every third Thursday of the month at the JFK Center, at the Senior Center at the JFK Center, at 7 p.m. But it's an in-person meeting currently, but it's a place that you can connect, get to know your neighbors, and get to know what's happening in your park. There's a police presence that shares this, but there's these type of things that residents have to get involved. And I think this is just what I think. I think that we aren't as connected as we were, you know, because I was raised here, and you kind of knew the people down the street, and it was a more cohesive community. Yes, it was a more cohesive community from what I recall. And now I think we're a little more disjointed, and people, I think there's a place that you have a voice and you can use it, but you just have to be in the right venues. And I believe Neighborhood Watch is one of those places. If definitely, you know, if you see something that could improve your surroundings, a town council meeting, which is the first and third Tuesdays of every month. But these are things that if you want to have an impact, you can have a say at these places. I mean, of course, if anybody else wants to share on this platform, please feel free.
Absolutely. I also love the police engagement. You know, the tone that the police set in the Willingboro Township community. There's so many opportunities to engage with law enforcement here, and where I came from, we never had anything like that. And I love to see how the police engage with the residents here. It makes it so much easier to allow yourself to be comfortable around police. So many people, it's a conversation that needs to be had, but a lot of people won't talk about it. But in a lot of cases, when police step in an atmosphere where there are people standing around, so to speak, it changes the atmosphere to the point where a lot of people are not comfortable. And I'm just glad that in this area, I don't get that feeling when I'm around our law enforcement, when I'm around people who are serving as police officers in Willingboro. So I know that they had the Walk a Mile in My Shoes, which was a really, really good event. Will, I know that you were there for pretty much all of them. I know they discontinued it, but do you know if they plan to reconvene with doing that in the coming year?
Yes, from my understanding, they're going to move it to a quarterly event.
Okay.
And you know, it was at 10 a.m. on Saturdays at the track at the JFK Center, and they would do a mile, and residents could come out to interact. But in saying that, I have to shout out to Officer Sally Landrum, as the community engagement officer, and that the fact that our police are putting an effort in to connect with the residents, so it's not a cold call. So if there is an issue, there will be police interaction. But so not all interactions are negative. So you have this, even at that teen night that you know, I thought you were there, Dr. Amy, believe it was last Thursday.
Last Thursday.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
last Thursday. But the township doing events for teens to make sure they have something to do. But in doing that, they had the police engagement officer there to have police interaction. And so it's not off-putting in that there's a good relationship between our youth and the police.
Yeah, and that's another great point that you brought up. The youth advisory, is it the youth advisory group It's so good to know. Yeah, it's so good to know that Willingboro has something like that in order to activate the youth group, the teens, the teen community in Willingboro. I believe that Chloe Worthy is the president of that group. They're doing great things. I was actually at their library night event that they had some time ago, and we had a lot of fun. They had food there. I know I'm not a teenager, but I did go out there to cover it for Borough TV. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's the reason I went out there, was to cover it for Borough TV. It wasn't to eat up all their food and nothing like that. Okay, so if anybody asks you, I didn't eat up all the food. But anyway, they had a great event. It was fun. I'm looking to see more from them as well, because I feel like our youth, we have some very intelligent youth. Our youth have a lot of potential. I have the privilege of working with some of the youth in Willingboro, and I just really want to see them do more. And I'm hoping that through the Borough TV platform, we can actually tap into the youth community and put them to work as well.
Yes. Well, and you brought up a point there that sometimes, and unfortunately, and this is something I see, we work in silos. So yes, we have this teen night, but not everybody knows about it. There may be some other organizations who have another teen night, but it just doesn't hit the groups that it needs to hit. I'm cool with it, meaning if it's good and it's positive, I want to promote it. I want us to get there, to spread the word, get as many people involved in it as we can. But unfortunately, and I don't know, this is some, if I had to answer for this, I would immediately manifest it. But how do we fight the separation? Because there are groups out there that have events, they do stuff for the youth, but it just doesn't resonate, or it doesn't get out. It gets to their group, but not outside of their group. And I'm sure you may see it also.
Yeah.
Oh no, I definitely see that. There's a lot of separation, and we want to see how we can combat that. And I think one way is to reach out to all those different entities. Willingboro has a lot of, especially on Facebook, there's a lot of groups, a lot of pages. I want to bring everybody together, like somehow, some way, just create, if we were all to work together and just create a collaboration, we could be so strong together when it comes to controlling the news in our area.
Yes. No, and I appreciate. Oh, yes, Dr. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say I appreciate you, Pastor Terry, because you are open, and it's a page. It's not a closed group. It's an open public group. But even in that so people could know that, and I think people have this is just what I believe. I believe that there's a preconceived notion that you're leaning as a certain way, so I'm not going to share it on your platform. But if it's Willingboro positive, I know that you would share it, and I know that, and also I want to grow the followers of Borough TV, but it could be anything, any platform, as long as it gets out there, or it come from any source that's a positive source for Willingboro.
So I slowly am letting people in. I'm deleting. It's coming through. We're getting a lot of people in the waiting room and with weird names. So obviously I'm deleting those, and others I'm trying to kind of cautiously let people in. So I apologize for all those that may be in the waiting room waiting. If you could change your names, if you're looking at us on Facebook, change your name so that we have your full name. And we'll get to talking. I also want to send a shout out to Officer Landrum. She was the one that, at the teen night, she had an amazing hot chocolate bar, right? And so I copied. I'm going to show you. She had peppermint bark. Oh, you can't see all this. Peppermint. She had nuts and toffee and dehydrated marshmallows and whipped cream, and she had it ready. So huge shout out to Officer Landrum and all of our finest, if you will. But what do you think is the most pressing news for Willingboro right now? Most pressing, that it affects everybody, that all people should be concerned or want to know more about?
I mean, of course, I'm going to say COVID, because that's pressing everywhere, But
see the lines at the urgent care?
Oh my goodness, the lines are horrible.
We'll get back to urgent care and the lines. Let me go back. Miss Nikki Hunt, you had something to say. I believe you can unmute yourself and go ahead. Are you there? Because if you're speaking, we don't hear you. All right. So Miss Nikki, I'm going to give you a chance to get your, to see what's going on with the sound there. And we're going to go back to urgent care. So the line was like from the inside all the way through the parking lot. And it just kind of kept looping around. And I only saw
I've never
videos.
seen that.
You know? Well, what was your
No, I mean like in the past.
Okay.
I've never seen that before. That I did see the picture. Then that was almost as bad as L&M Bakery. I I ordered a cake for my mom's birthday for Christmas Eve, and on Christmas Eve I went to pick it up. I was in line for about an hour and 20 minutes. The line went way down the street.
Are you
But
serious?
yeah, yeah.
Well, I
But
mean, I'd rather have a cupcake or a cake than
right.
COVID. That's not bad, right?
Yeah. But also the waiting room in the ER. You know, I went past the emergency room. I just happened to ride by, and you could see through the window. It was like a standing room only. There were people sitting, people standing, and I just thought that was awful. You know, because so many people are looking for tests, looking to get tested, and it's actually a difficult time to get tested these days because of the waits.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of crazy. I mean, we expected it to be heightened after the holiday,
right.
but to see it, you know, not only in Willingboro, if you look, it's many other places and cities are having the same type of long lines and waits. And I'm curious if they're going to run out of tests or anything like that.
Yeah.
Did you hear? Was it Alaska? No, don't let me quote wrong information. Some place where they have 400 tests and they were all told they were negative when in actuality it was positive.
Oh wow.
I have to look it up. So I don't
400 false negatives. Wow.
false negatives. So I'm really glad that hasn't happened here.
Yeah.
What else do you think are the pressing needs, the thoughts, the things that should absolutely be shared? Okay. Ms. Hunt.
The youth in our schools.
Yes, that's definitely something where the state of our school district and just what's going on. You know, those school board meetings are public, and currently, the last one I believe was hybrid, but you can still access them virtually from home. But that just what's going on in our school district is something that in the state of it, you know, we have the latest superintendent, Dr. Hackett, and even the I'm going to say the energy on the school board and the direction and the curriculum. These are things that yes, I think that's one of the main things in the direction of our school system, that more residents can get involved, to be accountable, to make sure that the school board and the superintendent is accountable to improving the school system. You know, as you know, this is one of the ways that I try to contribute to Borough TV, and we try to stream the school board meetings on the Borough TV platform. But in doing so, because I don't have children in school, but it does make me aware of what's going on, and just it will be nice to have more residents to see what's happening behind the scenes, not just from the schools and principals, but from the school board and the superintendent. So I definitely agree that's something that the residents should know about, just where we are and how we're headed there.
I definitely agree. Most people don't know this, but Borough TV was kind of birthed because of the school board and the township council meetings. There were times when I would go to the school board meetings and there wouldn't be very many people in attendance, and the school board members would make comments from time to time about the empty blue chairs and how they wish that more people would support. So I started pulling out my phone and live streaming the meetings, and that's actually how Borough TV got started. I definitely want more attention to come to the school board meetings. I think that our schools need help. Our entire school system needs help. But I want to make sure that when we are streaming this information and we're talking about the school board and the things that are happening within, I don't want it to become anybody's tea. I don't want it to just be a conversation piece where people are just talking about what's happening, on the school board and what's happening in the school district in Willingboro. But I want us to be solution minded. I want people to engage who are going to come up with ideas and come up with solutions as to how we as a community can support our school board members. We can support the different things that they have in mind to move our school system forward. I have to say that there's a lot of complaining that takes place, whether it be with the school board and with the township council. When people watch the meetings, there's a lot of words that are being spewed across, that are just complaints. And I just want us to be solution minded in whatever we do, so that we're not pointing fingers, but we're trying to figure out how we can lift each other up and how we can lift Willingboro up as a whole. But that was the reason why Borough TV got started, was to be a window to the community for those that could not make it to these meetings, so that they would have an opportunity to kind of be there without being there and still be kept in the loop.
So there's a comment here that says, I think that long-term residents who no longer have children in the school system do not understand the young people. Some are reminiscent of our old times, but don't have definitive input or solutions on how to bring about change. Many complain and judge, but don't participate in the change. Well said.
And I got to agree with you there, because a lot of them talk about it and they complain about it a lot because they are affected because of the taxes. So I understand as far as them being affected by what happens with the school system. However, it's not good to hear a lot of negativity, about the school system, but no solutions. No one who wants to actually participate and be there to help with the school system getting better. So I definitely agree with that. But the question is, how do we combat that? How do we turn people who have minds like that, who aren't necessarily solution minded, but how do we turn them around? How do we get them on our side to think more of how they can help us? Besides the taxes, I understand, every homeowner in Willingboro is paying taxes, and the school board, the school system receives a significant amount of those taxes. How do we put people in a position where they understand the need? Whether you have a student in the district or not, there is a need for you when it comes to solutions.
There's another question or topic. With the rise in COVID cases, I'm concerned about our students and teachers returning back to school after the holiday break. I hope measures are being put in place to keep everyone safe. Do we know yet if students are returning back on the 4th, or has there been like a 2-week extension? I know other schools in Burlington County have, students returning in 2 weeks after the normal or the scheduled school return date. Has anything happened yet in Willingboro?
I can tell you that my children did say that their principals told them on the last day of school to bring their Chromebooks home just in case they had to go on remote learning. But we haven't heard anything as of yet regarding, pertaining to remote learning, if they're going to return in person or if they're going to go on remote temporarily. I haven't received any information just yet.
Okay, and neither have I. I don't know if we're waiting until or not. But if those lines are significant of how many cases we have going on, perhaps we should definitely look at that. And I know
it's scary, especially. Yeah. Even if they do go back, I'm sure that every parent, they have a valid, legitimate concern. Anyone who has a student, living in their home that's going to school, if they open the school doors back up in the beginning of the year, there's definitely going to be a big concern, because apparently this new variant is very easily, it just jumps around. It's so easy to contract. Right. And if the kids return to school, then there's definitely a clear and present danger there that they may come home. I do remember seeing someone post about, this was in a different district, about how their child went to school and was exposed, and they came home and the parents got sick, and everyone in the house is now sick with the new variant, with Omicron. So it's definitely something that could happen. So we do have cause for concern. I'm sure that our officials, our school administrators, will reach out to us soon and let us know what's what. I'm just going to look forward to that.
Me too. And it was Australia, not Alaska, that had the 400 positives.
Wow.
Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, well, speaking about the school, now that coming to my remembrance, another thing, and it plays into this because I'll say the sacrifices that the teachers make, but they're still negotiating the contract, currently, and that's been a long, arduous process that's not complete. But that's just something that residents should know, like that's going on. And so there's these type of things. I looked on the website. I will say it looks like the school district redesigned their website, but I could not find a definitive. And also did the town, so did the town. So did the township. But on the school website, I could not find a definitive answer when if they're going to be virtual coming back or not. So that because that's something I happen to try to look for prior to this meeting. But there's
I think
multiple, you got to.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Will. No, I was just
say,
going to tag on to that. I think that the decision probably just hasn't been made yet.
Yes. No. Yeah. I think I believe they're in fact fighting right now. On the excuse me. You mean decision to come to school? Okay. Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I'm not sure. But I understand that the numbers are going up, and they want to make sure that the children are safe, the students are
Absolutely.
safe,
And the staff. Absolutely.
Yes, and the staff.
The latest letter we got was saying that we're on track to come back on the 4th. So nothing's been said otherwise since that yet.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you. Good to know. So what other hot topics? Come on. I see people and I would love to let them on, but I don't want the visual that we had a few moments ago.
Okay. Well, oh yeah. Well, I'll let you determine the people.
No, go ahead, Will. As long as you can hit the button and hit delete, because you now have that, you can.
Yes, thank you.
This hunt.
So as long as I got to remove, thank you.
That's right.
But it's for another topic that was big, and I had mentioned it earlier, and I don't know if you heard it, but our water, the WMUA, we have PFAS have been found in one of our wells, and that was and actually the Willingboro Municipal Utilities Authority, who takes care of our water and our sewage, they had a town hall where you could ask questions about it. But basically, one of our wells was found to have higher than the maximum contaminant level, and the Department of Environmental Protection directed them to send a letter out to all the residents that occurred. But that's a hot topic. It's something we all have access to. What we live in water, live in Willingboro, and that's the water we get. And we have to determine, is it safe for us to consume? Is it safe for us to wash in? And
Right.
that is something that is important to Willingboro residents.
Speaking of the water, has anyone received a new meter? I know they're going around and installing new meters now.
Yes, that is something. I'll just say that they should be finished in I guess mid to early 2022. At least that's what is scheduled. But Willingboro residents are supposed to get smart meters where they could read it from the main system, and it'll dynamically tell you where your water is, or how much water you consumed, instead of having those estimates and things like that, so that it'll help with the billing. At least that's what they said at the WMUA meetings, but that's one of the reasons why they are going that direction. And it's one of the capital projects that may show you why the rates have went up, because that's something they had taken on. And that is one of the things they have taken on. But I'm not sure if Ms. Hunt has something else.
Yes, she does. And Will, I'm going to let the first one on the waiting room in. Can you get ready to delete if need be?
I'm on it.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Hunt, I think she may have put a message. I think she said she has her meter. She got her meter put in.
Yeah, she said she received it.
Okay, good. Good.
Now I know
right.
that Will. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I know that Will mentioned about the excessive levels with the water and everything. Do we know yet whether that's been? I know it's been addressed, but has it been rectified? I know that they shut down that one well, but do we know if it's been reinstated? Like, is it back in use or not?
Oh no, I don't believe it's going to be reinstated for at least 17 months, from my understanding.
Oh wow.
Because they have to build a carbon filtration facility, which is going to take 17 months to build. Now, from that meeting, that was already in play. They were already working on a remediation for that well, but still the levels of the well was still past what it was supposed to be. So as I said before, the Department of Environmental Protection directed the WMUA, from my understanding, to send a letter out, even though they had a remediation already, which is turn off the well and get a filtration plant just for that well, which is, as you know, in Buckingham on Baldwin Lane, you know, that area next to the tot lot, that's the
Right.
area.
Okay. Wow. So I wonder how that affects us in the interim, like when it comes to the water.
Well, all right, this is something that I've reached out to our current, and they had a change on their high level. These are things that, you know, I think we don't know. There was a gentleman, Mr. Andrew Weber, who was the executive director. He stepped down or was not renewed. We'll say he was not renewed. And
right.
Currently there's Mr. Diallo Diggs is serving as our interim director. So I've been in communication with him, and the impact, I'm not sure how the impact is. I'm not sure what the long-term impact is from a rate standpoint, but I do know from that meeting that plant is going to be $5 million, but I believe it was already designated prior to when residents were notified. And for me, and now I'm going to speak as a resident, I would have liked, there's different philosophies here, but I would have liked if the WMUA was more forward with that information, because I had, you know, I do a Willingboro podcast, but in that podcast I had stated that there seems to be different philosophies. One of it is we need to be upfront, because they knew about this since 2020 about the higher levels, or at least that PFAS was at that well. So, and they stated that this in their WMUA meetings. So if that was out, I think residents, you know, it's never good news to hear about this, but to get it all in one motion or one shock, it's more of a shock. But they were working on a remediation, and if they had shared this, that we're cutting off the well, that we're working on putting something together to clean the water, to make sure we don't have it, it wouldn't have been such a big, to me, it was called anxiety and confusion the way it was shared, considering this was already known. So that's definitely, I think even they could, we're all learning, and I think the WMUA is learning that, hey, they have to be more forward, and this is important. This is our water. So
yeah, definitely.
Just got a text or a chat that says that all residents were still not informed. And that's part of the problem.
Yes. Yeah. Well, even with that letter, from my understanding, they just sent the letter out, like 11,000 letters, and the post office processed it in groups and different places got it. In fact, apparently some people, because we provide what parts of West Hampton water, that they have received the letter before Willingboro residents. So just the rollout of that information could have been done at least 6 months before now, instead of all at this time.
Yeah. I was going to say it's part of that. We did a session together called Community and Connectivity. And I think that getting to the bottom of that would definitely help getting information out in a timely fashion and making sure that across the board, everyone receives the same information. I would like to add that as a hot topic. Communication.
No, that's definitely a hot topic. Communication has for some time been quite the issue in Willingboro when it comes to rolling out information to the entire township. It's been tough, because even just talking about the water, I still haven't received the letter. I still don't know what the letter looks like. Right. I'm not sure if any of my neighbors here in Buckingham Park received it, but I have not received that letter. I didn't receive anything talking about the water having that, you know, the information about the problem with that well. That information I got from seeing it on the news, basically. And I understand that a lot of Willingboro residents did receive information about it ahead of time, but not everyone. So in going back, I hate to bring this up. I know we've talked about it several times in the past, but with the trash situation, not everyone was notified in a timely manner regarding the trash.
Explain.
Well, the township switched over to a new. We switched over to a new system of how our trash is picked up, because they moved to having an automated truck pick up the trash, and you could only use one can, which is a can that is a designated can that's contributed by the Willingboro Township. And a lot of people did not know until it was too late. So people were still putting out their old trash cans, and here it is. This truck was coming down the streets, dropping off new trash cans, and actually the letters were not sent via the mail. From what I saw, the letters were attached to the new trash can that was placed on the street. So I mean, anything could happen. The wind could blow it away. Kids come by and grab up the letters. The fact that that was done in the way that it was done, even though I was a part of trying to get the information out, I shared with the township, Mr. Rich Provogel. We actually did a video with him sometime before they rolled out the new system, and we put the video out, but we can only reach those who are on social media. So as far as the homes who have occupants that do not access social media, they were not informed. And so it's just, the information didn't get out the way that we had hoped it would, or the way that it should have.
Okay.
Well, and to speak to that point, there are different entities in our town. I do think the town is better at communication, but the mentioning the trash rollout, I know it was requested that a letter be going out at the town council meetings, but it just never happened. I don't understand why, right. But that was part of the initial rollout before it rolled out. Like, let's make sure that the residents know what's going on concerning the WMUA. If you go to their site, the letter is on their website, but still, I think they're even more, we can speak frankly, I think they're even more behind in the town council in getting information out. So it was the letter, and it is on the website, but who visits the WMUA website, which is wmua.info, if you would like to see the letter, but it's there. But yeah, I don't know what was it wasn't as proactive as it could be. But my point is, WMUA is an organization in our town, separate from the township, separate from the school district. And that's the other thing. They all have, in general, have different modes of communication. They don't all go through the chain channel. They don't streamline it like we'll all use the same method. So you get different levels of engagement and communication. I think the township does well in some areas, and at least they put more energy in. But some of these things are very imperative. Definitely the ball was dropped with the communication concerning the trash, because it was a shot, and that was a big change. And that's still something that the township's working on, which is right now they're in the process of allowing residents to have a second bin. That's currently going on. The last meeting, I believe you may have to pay for the second bin. Don't quote me on that, but I know that process has started officially, or the finalization of that process has started from the last township meeting. So
okay, I would definitely consider. I'm sorry.
No, yes, you're good, Terry.
No, I was just saying I would definitely consider that, an ongoing hot topic, because the problem still persists. There's still people who are having issues as a result of the transition. And especially now during the holidays, I know that after Christmas, a lot of people put, excess trash out after Christmas, and they've been having issues with pickup.
Yes.
So
and just to add on to that, as I may have mentioned earlier, we just got, at the last meeting, we just got a new permanent town manager. Prior to that, we had Mr. Howard, who was the acting. So prayerfully, and I'm going to say prayerfully, this new person will have the wherewithal to improve the communication and make sure things are done and people are held accountable, that information is given as quickly and as efficiently to residents. That's important, because that's important. Yeah, I get it. If you don't go to a township meeting or wasn't paying attention or just living your life, we'll just say you're just living your life, you get a new green bin, you don't know that what the process is. And it was just a piece of paper, taped to the tape on top, and they were just going down the street, giving them out. And even from that, it seems like people's trash has not be consistent. Like, I'm blessed, they came by, picked it up, good. But I hear Mr. Floyd, he and from his section of Buckingham, not everybody has that story. So that's something that we want to, I think, as I said before, I think it's two-way communication. We want to know the right methods to communicate that we're having problems, but also the township has a responsibility to try their best to get important information such as this on what we're doing and what direction we're going and what's the new procedures to the community.
No, I definitely agree. I feel like as just like they have their jobs to do, I feel like as the community, as the residents, we have a job to do as well. And I just want to find out, what's our part? What do we need to do to help support the people who are in certain places in the township who need the support in order to move our township forward? I think that we have the power to do that collectively. If we do it together, we can go far. And Willingboro has so much potential. It's got so much potential. We can do so many great things together. And I'm just glad that everyone who's logged in right now, who wanted to see what's going on with this conversation, really deep down wants to see something better happen in our community. We want this to be a better place for our children and our children's children. So how do we get there?
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we're here talking about it and having this conversation. We're going to continue to have conversations like this, but also put our boots to the ground and follow it up with action.
Yeah. Well,
Once again, hot chocolate, hot topic. Sorry, Mr. Will, I'll let you back in. For those who are joining us on Facebook Live, we are discussing hot topics in Willingboro, things that we would like local media to cover. WHYY, subscribe to WHYY.org and Borough TV. Follow them on Instagram, and he'll give the other handles. So we're discussing it. If you have a topic, we need you to jump in and share it. We want to see what you want to know versus someone else coming into our city and picking what they think the hot topic is. What do you as a community feel should be covered? It doesn't even always have to be a problem. It could be something wonderful going on, and it should be shared. So back to you, Will.
Yes, I was just going to say it's an ongoing conversation.
Absolutely.
And I want to just piggyback on what you would said, that we, like one of the principles of Kwanzaa, like self-determination, we can determine our story, the framing of a story, similar to the water story. The media, Willingboro water bad. It's a more nuanced story, and it's something that we, the WMUA, in fact, could have put a better framing, because by the time it hit media, it was already being dealt with. It was already there was already a plan, and that to remediate the issue. But when it just hits the media like that, it causes a panic, and we have the power to determine our own story. And that's something we as residents, by the way, WMUA, those commissioners all live in Willingboro. They're Willingboro appointed. They're not outside people. So we have to determine our own story, and we have to want it to matter to say something.
All right, we have a hot topic on Facebook. Ty Barr says that Willingboro has a lot of illegal foreclosures in banks and attorneys forging documents. The courts and politicians are ignoring the fraud that is occurring, and gave a YouTube video to watch. So Ty Barr brought something hot to discuss. Who should be with this? Who should we bring into this discussion? Where should this information go? I know that's not really, but as a community, I feel like we have a responsibility. Go ahead, Terry.
Okay. No, I was just saying, I was gonna ask you where was the link, but I see it in the chat, and I'm definitely gonna watch the video as soon as I get the chance, because I'm interested in finding out what's going on with that.
Absolutely.
So that we can, we're definitely going to look into it, Ty. I'm going to look into it and find out what's happening with that. And if you're up to it, shoot me an email at info@boroughTV.us, and we can continue that conversation as well. As of right now, I wouldn't be able to give any information on it because I don't know anything about any, illegal foreclosures in Willingboro, but I would love to research that and find out more about it. I don't know. Is there anyone else who knows anything about it? I'm sorry.
info@boroughTV.us.
info@boroughTV.us.
All right, sending it now. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ty.
Well, speaking of that, there is a, I believe he's a Willingboro resident named Clay, and he
Clay
definitely, yes, Clay Owens, yes, and he deals with that a lot. What I will say is this is something, and I'm accountable to this, or there's some level of conviction with me with this also. There's issues out there that if not enough people are involved, it's easy to be blown off by elected officials or whoever or somebody who can change it. So my belief is we need a groundswell of people to get behind these issues, because it could be you next time. And specifically, I know things such as if there was a police situation or something, but it's easy to say that's them and not me. I'm good. I'm paying my mortgage or whatever. But this is something we need to be, these type of issues, even if it's not happening to us, schools, mortgage, police, we still have to say, I'm my brother and sister's keeper. I want to make sure they're good too. So let me get involved with this. So yes, Barrel TV can run a story, but if we have 100 residents showing up at a meeting or a foreclosure, then that's the impact. That's the power there. So I on another principle, Kwanzaa, but our own self responsibility that we have to be a part of it. We can't rely on somebody else, but we have to do it.
We've got another topic. The concern is how to get everyone on the same page with the needed changes. I think there should be a poll or survey to determine what residents believe that they can contribute. Everyone has different gifts, talents, skill sets. How can we all come together and divide up responsibilities so that all things don't fall on one group? What groups would this fall on? I'm curious, like what would you say, who's carrying most of this? Or do you think it's divided in such a way? Because it's true, we can be in silos. Like I work primarily with the youth and young adults, but there's a lot more that I should be thinking on doing and sharing, right? What group do you think is carrying most of this? I'm curious.
Well, I don't look at it as a particular group carrying it. I just look at some group is handling something, one issue, another group is carrying another. But we as different groups should be able to come together and organize and have a strategy to handle these things. But that's something that you know what, I'm going to pray on that. Like I'll say that I'm going to pray because I don't have a clear answer, but I can tell you how I
wasn't looking for a real answer. I was waiting to see what you thought. I mean, we do want an answer, but,
but I don't look at it that somebody's actually that there's a group taking this weight. To me, there's not a group taking this weight. They're handling what they have to handle, whatever the group is. Barrel TV's handling over here, and ACP's handling their thing. You know, like you know, you're feeling the Dr. Faith in Action's feeling the whole. You know, these different, and there's more groups than that. I wish I knew all the groups in Willingboro. You know, and be on a even from a you know, being involved in AACP and AACP. The religious leaders, like if we can get all of them, you know, there's a lot of churches in Willingboro. If we can get everybody involved to look at the mortgage situation or to look at the PFAS situation. And even though I think the WMUA is trying, but that group of people, if you have that grassroots, you know, like the Montgomery Boys bus boycott, if you have that grassroots group, you can come to the WMA, like, we want to make sure our word is good. Like, can you guarantee it? Like, and you have that group. You have that group that will hold people accountable. And that's something that now that I'm speaking, I want to try to reach out to at least to start there for me, the religious leaders, and say, hey, these are things that we, you know, we are all people of faith. Let's all, regardless of your tradition, we're all people of faith, and we want to address this, and we're a group of people, and we can agree, and we can come together on the areas of intersection, what we agree on, and address these issues around town, and have eyes on it to make sure that they're done, that they're handled.
All right, so Miss Nikki says, I agree. I think it really does come down to communication. And Ty says, a lot of the issues is that Blacks have been brainwashed to things are worse than they really are. Black flight and Black complaining is just as bad as white flight and whites complaining. Willingboro is a great place to live. Kids are going to college. Parents are involved. Great people live in the town. I agree. And great people came from this. You know, we have there's a great history here. There's great people with talent that have gone on to do other things. And we need to bring them back so they can help inspire, you know, once in a while, so that other people can kind of, like, you know, iron sharpens iron. And if we're sharp, and we can sharpen someone else, all of us get dull sometimes, right? So where do we go? Who do we talk to? So Ty, I really appreciate the comment. It's really about us getting involved. What do we want to see? What do we want from our community? Is it just the house? You know, are we happy with the house in the backyard and all of that? I mean, some people are really content. They moved from other areas and they got a single family home and they like it. What else do you want them to do? And why should they want to do it? Why should we want to do it? Curious.
I agree. I gotta say, I've this past September made 5 years that I've been in Willingboro as a resident with my family, and in my experience with seeing the different things that people would complain about on social media about Willingboro, I have to say I still don't see it. I still don't see it. People would complain about various things, and I think it's because they keep comparing the now Willingboro to what Willingboro was back in the 70s and back in the 80s. And honestly, it doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter where you've grown up. No place is exactly today the way it was back in the 70s and in the 80s. But the way that these posts and these messages come across is as if it's singled out to Willingboro. And I got to say, I don't see it. Where I came from, I was looking for a place where I could get more quality of life. I was looking for a place that I could consider safe for my family. And to this day, 5 years later, I can say that I made the right decision. So it all depends on, the looking glass. It depends on who's looking. It depends on where they came from. It depends on what their experiences were growing up. And I understand that there are people who saw Willingboro in a different light because they were here when all those great things that people talk about were in place in Willingboro, and they see the difference now. So I understand where you're coming from. However, there are people like myself who come from other places that look at this place as an oasis. I look at it as, it's my new home. It's a place that I want to stay because I love it here. I have resources that I did not have in other places. The people that I've come across here have been awesome. They've been great. And like I said, I don't see it. I don't see what other people see.
Well, let's go back for a moment, Will. Do you remember, because I think we went to school together, right? So across from Kennedy, since you're talking about flashbacks, Terry, across from the Kennedy Center, there used to be a Hallmark store, a Jamaican restaurant, if you will. Yes. And they used to do meat pies and all of that. And there was also water ice, and it was a drugstore. Yes. And I know that we used to flock to the Kennedy Center, quite honestly. And so I have great memories. I came from Philadelphia in the 5th grade. And so I ended up in junior high, and I went to high school at the Kennedy Center. And so from Showstoppers to what else was there that was awesome back then? I don't think it was before Heritage or right around the same time.
I was in the band, so
okay, got you. Got you. So what's this Black-owned hair store and Black-owned bakery? Yes, it absolutely was. And I would frequent it often because it's right across the street, so you get it on the way home. So when you say what it was then and what it is now, I still think we have some good stores, some good places in Willingboro. Do we know about all of them? Maybe not. But you've got what is this? The store, Natural Corner? Am I saying it right?
All Natural Corner.
Yeah.
It's a great place. Yep. On Charleston. Yeah.
On Charleston. Got it. So there are some places. I understand that there's another salon or a hair product store that just opened, Willingboro resident, right?
Okay.
Country Club, I think it is.
Yeah.
We have things happening. Welcome, Miss Sonia. Yeah. We have things happening. We have, and it Black owned or other, it's Willingboro, right? Yeah. So it's Willingboro. And if we could find out what's out there, then we can actually patronize and actually cause it to grow. And it could be some great things. So I think
and
what you said, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to say what Terry was saying is perspective.
Yeah,
because we have to reinvest. Now, I was there. I'll say this: I was there when the quote unquote Willingboro was something else. All the pools were open and the schools were this and that. Yeah, I was. I came from that. I do think that I do think it's okay to point out the things that could be addressed, but at the same time, as some people point these out, let's try to be solution minded and have a strategy on how to fix it, or how do we get to where we want to get to. There are some areas that need to be addressed, or at least I can see residents would want to address. But it's one thing, and because I've been to a council meeting or two, what I find is, or just try to be involved in Willingboro. I love Willingboro. I'm not even unabashedly, I love Willingboro. But saying that, sometimes we as residents will have a lot of energy for 1 or 2 weeks, but to real change takes commitment. It takes continually do it. And to your point, Dr. Amy, some people just want to live. I get it. You want to cut your grass, make sure your kids is good, and you're good. Like, okay, everybody's warm and we got food. I'm not going to go to this council meeting. I'm not going to go to the school board meeting. It's another extra of work. But sometimes for change, it takes that. So, that's just part of what it is. And also, we have to look at the value in our community. And this is talked to about these businesses we have in our town, that the Centerton Roads Bridge, we as Willingboro, a lot of Willingboro, and I want the bridge back. But what we're really saying when we continually ask for it, what we're saying is, I want to shop in another community. I want to spend my money in Mount Laurel. I want to go to that Target, instead of saying like, how can we bring business here? Like freeholders / now commissioners, instead of saying, hey, build this bridge to another place that so I can go to Wegmans, say, can you help us with economic development here in Willingboro? And I think we have to change our mindset to look like, and sometimes it's a sacrifice. We may not have all the choices. We have Acme, and we have the Fresh Market, I believe,
Freshtown.
the JFK Center.
Freshtown.
But Freshtown, yes, we have Freshtown, but we have to sometimes, if we want to make sure that our money stay here and that we get more business here, we have to keep it here, because it's so easy. I understand it's so easy to go to Target. It's so easy to go to another community and spend our money, but that's part of the idea of let's keep our monies within this community if we want this community to grow economically.
Yeah.
Right. And because unity is so important, you know, us just sticking together as a community. I can tell you this, last year, I think that even with the pandemic, last summer was probably one of the greatest summers I spent in Willingboro, because of we had the community day in the park going on, and then we had the Juneteenth festival. Oh my goodness, that was like, it was such a great event. And if we could continue to capture the essence of that sense of community, that sense of unity that we felt that day, I think that Willingboro will be just fine. We can continue to build together. We can continue to grow together. That's something that we really need to work on as a community.
Yes. And I just had to big up that Juneteenth. That was a synergy. And one of the things that was good about that, there was communication. You knew it was happening. There were banners. And that's the type of prototypical skeleton or template. That's the type of template it would be nice the town to have for events in the future, because that's something people knew about. They knew, and you got a great turnout, and it was well put on, a great turnout in Mill Creek Park. So so it's possible. And that's the other thing. There are positive things happening. We just got to make sure that the word gets out and people get involved.
Right. What type of stores and restaurants do you think we need in Willingboro, realistically?
Well, yeah, I'm going to tangent that a little bit.
Go ahead.
Because of the Avery and Mr. Weiss, who owns the Avery, but he's trying to put a restaurant row in the little undeveloped corner of the Avery. But that's a, you know, his vision may not be, because you know, I'm thinking Lisa Olive Garden here. Did we have it? No, we had what did we have here?
We had it wasn't Ruby Tuesday.
It
was.
Tuesdays.
Yes.
But that even something on that level would be nice. But of course, fine dining would be nice too. Like I'm open.
I would like it.
Yes, I'm open to it. What I found out, and there's all types of excuses why business don't come to Willingboro, and I think part of it, my opinion, I think part of it is our perception outside of Willingboro. But what the businesses will say is, because I did serve on the Economic Development Committee for Willingboro, and we had one of the owners of the town center, and what he was saying is, let's say Seasons 52. I believe that was one of the criteria, but there's a certain, within the 2-mile radius of Willingboro, there's a certain medium income and there's a certain population density. And he was saying that we don't meet that. I don't know, because I think we will run to Morristown, so I think we could do it. So I think these are used as excuses for restaurants and businesses not to be here. But a part of it is, I believe, is perception. Now, we're looked as, and sometimes we do it ourselves. I see residents doing ourselves, like we're turning into a Camden, you know, that, or Trenton, or, you know, we'll downplay ourselves, but that isn't good for the overarching media, because then businesses may not be as willing to come here. But yeah, any type of white table by dining in Willingboro, I'm with it.
I personally would like to see. I'm kind of, I don't want to say this the wrong way, but I'm kind of glad that not a lot of the big businesses want to come to Willingboro. And the reason being is that I personally would like to see more of the homegrown businesses, more of the mom and pop type stores. I would love to see Willingboro have places that you can only get if you come to Willingboro. You know, I want to see places that, you know, restaurants open up that you can pretty much throw a rock and find a McDonald's, a Burger King, different restaurants like that. But I would love for Willingboro to have more places that are people who are business owners and live in this community, who are opening up their own business, and you could go and enjoy the food there. And for people to come from miles around, from other towns and everything, because they know that if you want to taste this particular cuisine, you have to go to Willingboro. That's what I would like to see.
Go ahead, Will.
Oh yeah, I agree, but I would like to at least see a anchor, we'll say, like something there to draw. And speaking on that, even with that, and this idea has been put out there, and shout out to Mr. Harry Walker, because to your point, there are a lot of businesses in Willingboro. There are a lot of people who do food or have little home businesses, but there's a gap, in my opinion, where a business incubator or some sort of organization or group can help make that gap from I'm in my home and I got help with my paperwork and everything's straight, and I'm moving toward a commercial kitchen or a place I could rent on a weekend, but something like that. I think a lot of businesses need that little push in between in Willingboro, because businesses we definitely have the businesses, but getting them to the level of being able to maintain that brick and mortar in the town center, I think that's a place that a group can assist, or we can assist in some way.
We've got a couple of comments on Facebook speaking about the funding for what's in Morristown versus Willingboro. It's called the 38 divide. One side of 38 gets different funding, or different businesses and different funding. Ty Barr shared that. Jose says, I think a good opportunity is to give locals a chance to create a summer activity where either local trucks or vendors can go to the pool on Fridays or at JFK to sell their food. This way the community can go out and spend time together at those opportunities. So Jose is looking at ways, and shout out to both of you there, to bring the community together, but allow businesses to also sell. Interesting.
Just real quick, we did, there was I believe it's an ordinance for food trucks. Now food trucks can be available in Willingboro, to speak into his point. But that, I do think there can be more reaching out to residents to incorporate them, because as I said before, there's plenty of businesses in Willingboro, which is encouraging to know. We have a lot of entrepreneurs.
I'm letting Jose know that there has been an ordinance passed, and we can look more into that so that food trucks are permitted in Willingboro. And she likes that idea as well. Good stuff. Good stuff. What else? Hot topics, hot chocolate, hot topics. If you need to get a refill, make sure you do so and keep the topics coming. We've covered conversation about youth, the school, the water situation. We talk about politics at all? I don't really like politics, but I know it's necessary.
A little bit. Yeah. Okay. I mean, some of what we mentioned was political, so
Oh, this is neat. Willingboro needs a junior council under 30 and have them cater to whatever's needed. Many towns have junior councils, and this helps people get involved. Great feeder program too. Do we have that, a junior council? I know we have the advisory board, the teen advisory board.
Right.
Do you have anything? The youth advisory board, rather. So Ty, maybe we can look more into that and see what's going on with but he said under 30, so it might be more than just.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not jealous that she said that, but I do feel a little bad, but I'm all right. I'm going to be all right.
Bad about what?
Because I'm still trying to accept my age. I still try to live like I'm under 30, but
Right.
Anyway,
not gonna happen right now, right? Hot topic.
I would like to throw a hot topic out there. Community events. I'm looking at some of the communities around us and how they have these small jazz events in the parks, and they get together and do things throughout the summer. And I would love to see a schedule like that in our community in Willingboro, where there are different things being scheduled in different parks. Probably put Rodeo Park to use. I remember when they did Jazz Fest, they were talking about how the Jazz Fest used to be at Rodeo Park. Of course, I wasn't around here during that time, but that would have been great to see.
Also,
but the little, I'm sorry?
There's also a summer jam series there.
Wow, really? See, I didn't know that. See, but the platform, the stage is still there. So it would be great to see that stage be put to use and, have some crowds out there every now and then throughout a summer series. It would be great to have something like that.
It'll be really nice.
Speaking of that, we do.
Yeah.
What's that? We do have. What do we have? The jazz. We do have the Jazz Fest. So, but
Right.
not saying that. But maybe even something smaller that's consistent. That
Mhm.
continue to go to be periodic. But yes,
Right. Even maybe some pre-shows leading up to Jazz Fest. You know,
yes,
something.
yes, and then
Yeah.
on a smaller scale, because Jazz Fest is our big thing. I look at it.
It
But
is.
so you know,
Right.
one or two local artists, you could come out, hear them, and enjoy that. So
Yeah.
almost like, in fact, I'm thinking about National Night Out, and the fact that we have a National Night Out, which is
Right. And it was fun.
Yes, but an artist or two playing at a crowd about National Night Out
Right.
size.
Yeah, that would have been great. Yeah, and I know Dr. Amy, we talked about the Winter Wonderland because we saw the over in Philly. What was it
Yeah.
called? Was it the Winter Wonderland? I forgot what it was
That
called.
was what I'm calling it. That's the event that I was
Okay.
in Willingboro. Yes, I'm looking forward to doing that. Hopefully we'll get the
Right.
funding this year so that next holiday we can actually pull it off. But I think it's something that would be great. It really would be cool. I think that the community would look forward to something like that, something that families could be involved in, not just kids, not just adults, but you could bring entire
Right.
families. And like with the food trucks or with the summer jam series, it's just opportunities for families to get together in Willingboro versus having to
Yeah.
travel outside to Philadelphia or to the Camden waterfront or other areas to partake in, good music or good food or an event. It seems like we could use some more community events,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, which I was going to say, which is possible because we did that in a sense with Juneteenth, but just to do that
that
for
was
other,
great.
like we have the capability because that was
Right.
that type of event where it just happened this year. Let's celebrate it, Mill
Yeah.
Creek Park. So now we can have a winter wonderland in Mill Creek or something,
Yeah.
or maybe at the JFK Center.
Yeah.
So these are things that we can do. And once again, I'm advocating for residents to be more involved because we have committees that they're looking for people to join. We have an economic development committee. We're looking for that. Communications, we're looking for residents to join. And when I say we, I mean we as Willingboro is not. I'm not in charge of anything, but that youth advisory committee. You could even apply to get on the WMUA if you want to impact your water, have a more direct impact on what we're doing with our water, which is one of our assets. So it's the green team, our green spaces. There's the events committee. We have an events committee that would address what we're saying, but they needed to be filled out with residents to apply. And I think just getting that information out that you can apply to this. And if you go to our township website, you can look at the committees available and apply online through there's a form now that just happened recently this month, the 21st. A new website for our township was released, a new redesign of
That's
the website.
right.
Is it? Oh, I have to check it out.
Forgot about that. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I remember
And
seeing the.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the town manager seems open to any suggestions about it. Also, like, hey, you should move this over here, make it more easier to navigate here. But if you go there, it's a picture of our council. And yeah, you can get to know your council people and your mayor. And those
I can't wait to meet the new township manager. I'm definitely interested. I know some of this was set beforehand, but definitely interested. Jose also mentioned that they participate in a drive-in at the Smithville Park, drive-in movies at Smithville Park. I know that's something that we do at Kennedy. And I know that Kennedy has the, I think it's the recreation department where they do the big screen outside and, they allow the families to come as well. But I am super duper interested in the drive-in, especially with COVID, and something that hopefully we can pull off. Because Mill Creek is a great place. Jose said that Mill Creek would be a great place for that. I agree.
Yeah. That's something that realistically we should be able to do like soon. I don't know how soon it's going to be before the weather starts really getting cold, but that's something that we can really put together.
Yeah. Ms. Hunt says, have we considered how to incorporate the varying cultures and nationalities that are a part of the community? Growing up in Willingboro was a melting pot of people of other cultures, but I do not remember any celebrations or events that introduce or showcase their cultural traditions and celebrations. Yeah.
That is an awesome topic.
Great point. Because we do.
Yes.
We have what? I know there's a lot of different Africans like Liberian, Ghanaian, Sierra Leone. More than that, I know that the there are several Latino. It's so much here. Willingboro is
Willingboro has a
constantly,
Turkish community too.
absolutely, absolutely. How would we do that? How would we celebrate all cultures?
You know what? I would love to see like something that was similar to Juneteenth, but maybe call it a multicultural celebration and invite different cultures to come out and do different presentations at such an event.
It's possible. We could absolutely do that. Welcome, Ms. Sonia. If you want to say anything, by all means, please join in. I think a multicultural celebration would be phenomenal. And it would be fun. Could you imagine with the different food? I know that we have liability and things of that to worry about, but could you imagine with the different food and the different music and just different things? That would be great.
Yeah, I mean, learning about different cultures is always a plus, you know, and to have that, you know, I often refer to Willingboro as a melting pot. We've got so many different cultures represented right here in our community. So to have an event like that would definitely be great for us.
I agree. I agree. Hot topics, hot chocolate. What do you have? What do you want to know, or what do you think should be shared in Willingboro? Think about it. Think about it. It could be a problem. It could be a accolade.
A solution.
Go ahead.
Solution. So I was just going to go on to the next subject that you were starting to breach, which was our politics.
Yes.
And I'm not, you know, just in general, first, we don't, at least from a local municipality standpoint, we only have one party running. I will say, I'll make a side note, in the last election, the last general election, there was a independent candidate, Mr. Tony John, who did run. And that's really outside, but there's no, at least since I've been paying attention, there hasn't been any Republican candidates. And so what happens there is something I had to realize as an adult, because I was watching so much national politics and not understanding local politics, that for our town in general, right now, the primary election has more impact than the general election. So the primary election in June has more impact in who will be on the council, who will be mayor, than that general election in June. So this is just certain things that if you're not really paying attention, you might be like, okay, I'm going to elect you might think I'm going to quote unquote elect the mayor in November, but we don't do that. That's not how this works. We don't even the residents don't directly elect the mayor. The council will select the mayor, and this this January 4th, they will. But just understanding how the nuances of our local political process, and also we don't have a strong mayor. We don't have a mayor who has these dictates, because I think it's unfair. Yes, the trash issue wasn't handled well, and the rollout wasn't good, but a lot of the criticism was unfairly, in my opinion, put on the mayor, because that's one vote.
I agree.
All council voted for this. This was a unanimous vote. But people have this, I believe they have this understanding of, it's the mayor. All the criticism was to the mayor, when every council person, voted for it, voted affirmatively. Nobody abstained. Nobody said no. It went unanimous, and the plan, they didn't make the plan. The plan was brought to them. So to me, there's accountability across the board. But that's why, and I was looking for the gentleman's name, because I can't recall it right now. But the gentleman who just became our new township manager, that would be his responsibility to make sure those things are handled correctly and rolled out correctly. So as you said, Dr. Amy, I'm looking forward to seeing him and talking to him about what his plans are to help. And even one of the hot topics on that side is the maintenance of our town. The edging of our streets, the cleaning of our streets. One side, and I'm sure Terry could talk about this a little bit too. We lately been having community cleanups. Very good. Shout out to Concerned Citizens of Buckingham Park. They've been doing it, yeah. But the township has been trying to follow that model, and hopefully they'll continue. But and then you can expound on that if you would like, Terry.
Yeah, definitely. The Concerned Citizens has been doing cleanup, of course, for years, and sometimes we'll get out there and just start cleaning up ourselves. There's a lot that goes on in Buckingham Park that I know of when it comes to the trash and debris that makes its way in our gutters. But we've been having a lot of issues with the upkeep of our sidewalks. I know that a lot of the students have been complaining that it's hard to walk to school, and a lot of our students walk to school. We don't have, there's a lot that get bused, but there are a lot that walk, a lot who walk. Their shoes are all dirty and muddy by the time they get there, and there's a danger there because a lot of them opt for walking in the street as opposed to walking on the sidewalk, because the sidewalks are literally disappearing because they're not well manicured, they haven't been kept up. And so because of that, the grass is growing over the concrete and it's very difficult to walk. And one thing that you do not want children doing is walking in streets on parkways like Van Sciver and Levitt. So, there's got to be something done in that area where our sidewalks and our streets are being better manicured. So yeah, and even when it comes to the trash, I know that we have drop points that when we clean up, we drop the trash in certain points and then the township picks it up. I don't know where the trash is coming from. I would hate to say that our own residents are putting trash. I'm thinking that it's people who are passing through town that are dropping trash, but it's become quite a nuisance. I can't speak for all the other parks, but I can say that Buckingham Park, especially the Buckingham Drive area, it's a real big problem.
Yeah. Ms. Nikki says, can we implement a community service initiative for our students that they could receive credit for? I do believe that the township does have a program, or they did. It was a green, I don't want to say Green Acres, but it was a program where organizations could get involved and take a block. For instance, way back when, I would say in 2006, 7, 8, there was a program where our mentoring program, the Ladies of Distinctive Elegance and Men About Business, would clean up JFK Way. That was our street. Our responsibility was to go up and down JFK Way on a certain Saturday of every month and just, pick up the trash. And so I believe now there's a program where organizations can participate and get a small grant. I'm not sure if it still exists, but that's something that we should look into, Ms. Nikki. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I just know. That still exists. It's called the Clean Communities Grant.
Communities.
If you have, like you're saying, if you have a nonprofit and you're assigned a place and you'll get a grant and you can get people involved. I know different organizations has done that, but I can understand the point of, and that's something maybe I'll try to take that on, but connecting with the school and the township, because there's something. Have a more more structured. We'll say more structured, other than, because that was organization based. You had to be a nonprofit, apply for it, and then you didn't have to direct it toward young people. But just to have something that's directed toward young people that they could receive credit, because unfortunately, I can speak for Buckingham just like Terry. I don't know what it is. We could go down Buckingham Drive, clean it up, and the next week it's trash on Buckingham Drive, and it's a lot of little.
I mean, hours. Yeah. Hours later.
It's a lot of little.
Literally,
it's a lot of little
hours later.
They will.
The little nips of whiskey. The cinnamon whiskey.
Yeah, I forgot the name of it. We talked about that before, because it's a pet peeve that we have. Right. I can't remember the name of it. It's
yeah, you see it. And so that, and even educating the residents, like, hey, that trash goes somewhere. Like, if it's not people driving through, whoever's driving through, like this, you throwing it out your window, it goes somewhere.
It does. It really does.
So, but I think that's something that I'll try. I'll take it upon myself to at least share it with who I can on the council about that type of initiative, because I think that's a good idea, and that's something we I don't know why, but we need it. We need to help clean this community, and it starts with us not doing it. And when I say us, I'm taking a responsibility too. Like if I threw the bag out, if I'm not picking up something, so that people need to have that idea that, hey, if I throw this out the window, it's going to be. I take pride in my community. We all should take pride in our community. But in getting it back to where it needs to be, we had to get more people involved. And that could be a structured, I like that idea, because it could be a structured program where it could be even if it's just extracurricular for college or something, for college credit, or something good that looks good on your application for college for high school students, that hey, we're out here, helping get the trash together and those type of things. So I think that's something that's an idea that could be forwarded and see where it can go.
Something that always gets me when I come out or I'm driving and I see like a dead deer or an animal like on the sidewalk where the kids have to walk, I would call immediately, because I'm like, can you imagine the school, the kids leaving, for those who are not on the bus who have to walk home, how do they get around that? Yes, step over it, walk over it, but there are little ones still walking home too. And that's traumatizing for many, So I'm like, we call and it would be days. Sometimes it was, I think the last time it was like 7 or 8 days before anything was done, and I'm like, did I pick it up myself? It was nasty. It's just something that I think if we took better care of our community, the people in place as well, if we can at least share, hey, on this lane, this is what's going on. Do you think you can get it before school's out, or how soon can you get it, so that the kids don't have to see that? I think that would be great. Right. Welcome, Miss Pat.
Hey there, how are you? I'm so sorry I'm late. I almost totally forgot.
No, welcome. Someone says, I think educating the residents about where the trash goes, because clogged gutters contributes to our street floodings. Yes.
Absolutely. And that's another thing that we've been trying to do, is keeping our gutters clear. Okay. And that's been a challenge as well.
Mr. Dwayne Harris is the new township manager.
Yep.
And hopefully we'll get a chance to hear, something from him as well. So it's going to be I think it's going to be a good year, 2022, not just hoping, but I'm hoping that we see some great changes. And then we, like Will said earlier, we all have to take a part. So
yep,
all have to take a part.
But now that you said that, maybe on one of these, on these type of Zoom meetings, we can invite Mr. Dwayne
Absolutely.
Harris.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great. It would definitely be great. Hot topics. Miss Pat, do you have your hot chocolate?
No.
Oh,
I don't like hot chocolate. One of the few things. One of the few. Oh, you know what? I have my tea right here. Yes, I do. I've got tea.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about hot chocolate.
No worries.
Weird things. No worries.
So we're talking about Willingboro and what we want local media to cover. Rather than having them come and find a topic where we're offering, what are some things that we want covered, things that we want information, things that we want change, good things, things that need improvement, hot topics. And of course, this will change. This is an ongoing conversation, as Will said. So what's prevalent right now?
I think sometimes we have to tell our own story, because there's all kinds of good stuff going on in town that just kind of doesn't get out there. Like some of the great things that the kids are doing, some of the volunteer work that people are doing, you just don't hear about it. I mean, let something bad happen in town and it goes wildfire, but something good happens and no one seems to know anything about it.
What's some good stuff? Come on, let's talk about it. What's some good stuff?
Some good stuff. Well, we have Tiffany, who's doing the welcome baskets. She's been doing that since June. She finds out, what new residents are in town, and she goes in her own pocket. I mean, the CDC, we're going to start giving some money towards that, but she's doing it basically out of her own pocket.
Okay. Yeah, shout out to Tiffany Hose.
Yep.
Making our community better.
I think of something else.
Because there are some great things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just covered, Borough TV just covered a birthday recently where the fire department went out and did a drive-by for a young man's birthday. I think he turned 2 years old.
Yeah, I saw that.
This definitely, yeah. That was fun.
Oh, the fact that the fire department went through town, I totally forgot. And we heard this noise. I'm like, oh my gosh, my grandchildren are like, Mama, what is that? I said, it must be a big fire somewhere. So my granddaughter said, Mom, it sounds like it's getting close. So out my bedroom window, I can see 2 streets. And we saw the fire engines, and my granddaughter goes, oh my gosh, Mama, it's Santa. Santa's on the fire engine. It's going down one street. And then we didn't realize it came around. It was coming down. It's going to come on our street. They flew down the steps. They were at the door. They were screaming. It was wonderful. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
it was the most wonderful thing.
It was really neat. I have to
Yeah.
admit, I was visiting my parents and I saw the truck go by and I'm like, oh Lord, praying for the person where there's a fire and you see him waving. And I'm like, oh, it's
Yep.
hey, it was
Because
good.
they did it last year, but they didn't hit every street. This year, they said they weren't going to stop until they hit every single street,
Wow.
which is
That's
so great.
I think things like that builds communities, you
Yep.
know?
Exactly.
I wish I would have known they were on my block or coming, but that's what you hear the noise for and you open the door and look, I guess, you know? So
Yep.
it was really great. Shout out to
Yeah,
the
it was
fire
cool.
department.
Yes, indeed. That was so cool.
Yes. But yeah, there's so many good things going on. But again, and this is why we're here. The problem is that we don't know
Mhm.
everything that's happening because it's not being shared on every platform. So there could be there could be something besides what we're doing right now, which is a good thing going on in Willingboro. There could be something else happening right now that only
Mhm.
certain Facebook groups know about,
Right.
you know, only certain closed groups have knowledge that is happening. And
Mhm.
so we just want more people to reach out and let us know, hey, this is what's happening. This is what's going on in Willingboro. Even if it's something that you may not think is a big deal. My
Mhm.
grandmother's turning 80. I don't mind sharing stuff like that.
Mhm.
We want to see stuff like that. We want to see
Yep.
milestones, you know, marriage anniversaries and honor rolls. Whatever happened to honor rolls? Do
Right.
honor rolls still
I don't
exist?
know.
When yeah, like when the students do well, we want to put stuff like that. We want to put information out there like that so that people can see what our scholars are doing. You know,
Mhm.
there's nothing too small.
Yeah.
A win is a win.
I wish there was a central place that we can send all the information so it gets out, because I think that's one of the major things that doesn't happen. Things don't get out there, and then you find out after the fact, like, dang, I wish I had known about that. I wouldn't have gone to it. And I
Right.
think the only event I can think of that they really, 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 really did a really good job of was Juneteenth. There was signs everywhere, and that
Right,
normally doesn't
right.
happen.
Right.
And we need to do more of that. So everybody, there's not a corner that you can't go to that you don't see what's coming up.
I think we
That's
still
true.
also have a responsibility. Like I was just thinking, maybe if not every other day, once a week, I need to go on the website and see what's going on as we
Mhm.
figure out what committees to join or something else. Like, what's my responsibility? You know,
Right.
because
Yeah.
Right.
sometimes information is put out there and we miss it
Mhm.
simply because we missed it. Like, so
Yeah.
we're also responsible.
True.
I agree with you there,
Very
Ms.
true. Yep.
I just wanted to say that, and to that point, we have to toot our own horn in a
Mhm.
sense. But I really do. I do want to revisit the Tiffany Holes. I do appreciate, and I like that energy where, as a resident, she's doing what she can do in her space to improve. So if you moved here, she's welcoming you. She realized that she saw a need and she's filling it. Where when residents get here, here's some information and here's a welcome basket. Also, and to
Right.
our own horn, not that I'm officially part of it, but Willingboro Hands, you know, that Willingboro has a CDC. Like there's certain things that should get out there and be more prominent, that not only that, but people can be a part of it, and that they can have a voice and they can impact it. In fact, they want people, I know Willingboro Hands wants more residents engaged in what's your Willingboro story. So if you're on Facebook,
Right.
Willingboro Hands and engage with them, because there are organizations and entities in the town that want more engagement. The town, one thing I know is the township wants more engagement.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. Unfortunately, I'm seeing it aside from residents, like, yeah, we could have some energy, but you have to have consistent energy, not just for 2 weeks or a month, but just to make that change. You have to commit to making that change in whatever your space is. It doesn't have to be everything, but we all can do our little part.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
With Willingboro Hands is that at the end of that whole grant, we have to come up with a project that all the residents, or the majority of the residents, are going to want to do. And if we don't have more people involved, we're not going to come up with that one project.
Yeah. Then we got to share it. Where can they find out information about the project, Ms. Pat?
You can go on willingborohands.org. You can go on willingborocdc.org. Has information on both those websites for that, and you can find it on Facebook. It was just on there today.
Okay, good. Jose said a good topic would be police community relations in the light of the national spotlight. He does think that in general, we have a great program here in Willingboro where we're not seeing what is occurring in other places, but there's always room for improvement, but good overall. And so I remember DARE. Does DARE still exist? The DARE program?
I don't think so.
That's a good question. I
haven't
wonder.
seen the car in like
Yeah.
forever.
Okay. And the program that we used to do, Faith in Action in the Sheriff's Department, the exchange program, that was also something that created such great dialogue between the young people and the police officers. And I think we need to probably bring Officer Landrum on so we can know exactly what community programs are offered, because I know they are doing some things, but I think that dialogue is essential to the relationship. And imagine if something's going on, you're playing basketball with a police officer. Now you're building relationships, you're no longer just the man or something, and perhaps
Right.
we're doing pretty well in Willingboro. I don't know if anybody wants to
do
something differently.
I think we are.
Yes, I'm sorry. I just wanted to consider. I believe DARE has a different title, or they have a different type of program, but they definitely have the Junior Police Academy because they have the Junior Police Academy where young people can, and they go through a mock training and so I seen. In fact, I edited a video for that this summer. So they are working on it, but that is something that I think that can be continued and improved. And I'll look for that information on what this program is.
And simply, if we could even have, police officers, whether it's in plain clothing or in their attire, come and play ball for, 30 minutes, an hour, just a couple of times a week or one day a week. I don't know, just so that kids can actually, just have some dialogue. Just realize that they're human.
Right.
Yeah.
Terry, can you start streaming basketball games?
I did. I did a little bit of recording for the T League when they had the summer league this past summer, which was a really good event at the Kennedy Center, and I believe they're endeavoring to do that yearly. So I know they're looking forward to bringing it back next year.
So they're asking you.
Oh, I'm sorry, to start streaming.
Yes.
the school basketball games.
Let's see. Clarify school basketball games, because I believe the schools have their own, right?
I think they have their own service. We were talking about trying to put something together though with the doing not the off season, but before they get to the playoffs, doing their home games. We're trying to make that happen to where we can put their games up on social media so that people who can't be there can see what's going on with the basketball team.
Okay, so community-wide.
So we're looking into that.
Very good. I think I asked this question before, but is there still a faith-based coalition in Willingboro?
There is. I know that all the churches don't belong to it, but there is still one.
Do you know how one would get involved?
That's a good. Probably. I think probably Reverend Gill, because I know he's involved. That's one I do know that's involved. I don't know what other ones are now, because I know it's not all of them, unfortunately.
Okay. Have you been to any of those meetings? I'm just curious as to what is being shared outside of faith. Is it community oriented? We'll have to go find out, won't we?
Yeah.
All right. I'll have to attend a meeting as well.
Yep. Usually it's the pastors of those churches.
Sure.
Which is what I heard.
Gotcha. And our young people have several things to share and to say. We learned that when we did the Delta variant and the return to school and teen mental health. They have a voice. They have a voice that should definitely be considered, because a lot of times they make sense if we don't even listen. In some cases, they get along much better than adults do. Absolutely. And so I definitely think that there is room to hear our young people, that council that was the advisory board or other. I think that those are needed. And it also helps our community to grow. And then they can get involved, and perhaps one of them might want to be a council member, et cetera, et cetera. What else? Hot topics. My hot chocolate is no longer hot, but, but in our last 10 minutes, hot topics, hot chocolate, or hot chocolate, hot topics. What else is important? What else should be shared in Willingboro?
Well, we have the reorg next week.
Say again?
We have the reorganization next week.
January 4th, yes?
Yep, 7 o'clock.
Yes.
7 o'clock. Okay, be there, Willingboro?
Yep, and it'll be a hybrid.
Oh, that's good. And the link can be found at the website.
Yep.
Right? Very good. What else? Someone else said something. What else is pressing?
I had actually said
I think we lost you, Terry.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I think I'm I did something. Okay, there I am. Yeah, I was talking about mentorship. I think that there are a lot of our youth in Willingboro who could use some direction. And if we had some programs that could kind of set them straight, put them on the right path, with some mentors, male and female, just to sit and talk with our young people or just engage with them. It doesn't have to be anything deep, conversations and stuff, but doing things like playing basketball, playing chess and checkers with them, and just giving them the opportunity to express themselves. I think that we need more of that in Willingboro.
Yep.
Got it. Ty says that Willingboro should get ready when taxes double in the next few years, which may increase foreclosures. Something needs to be done. Part of the gentrification that is happening in Willingboro. These are serious topics. This should be a whole set story, Ty. We need to bring you on as well. This is
Yes,
definitely something that
definitely.
needs to be discussed. Yeah. What else? Someone else said something about the schools and the increase of foster children. And
Even more, because that's always been an issue in Willingboro since I can remember.
And how is it an issue?
Well, you have a lot of children, and I don't know, because I've had, foster children in my program, is that they don't want to be here. They want to be home. And they don't give the school district enough money to be able to, for lack of a better word, handle those children, to deal with that emotional part of that they want to be home, but they can't go home. And then we have the other issue that the CDC is going to tackle next year, is the fact that BCIT and Benjamin Banneker take our students. Now they have until October, they can send them back. But guess what? They don't send them back with the money. They keep the money for that whole year. They've only had those kids for 2 months, send them back with no money. So in essence, we now have a child that we have no money for, that the residents end up getting taxed twice for. That to me is highway robbery.
Well,
that should not be.
That's what Ty is saying. Need to stop the funding to charter schools. West Hampton pays $8,000 and Willingboro pays $20,000.
Yep. And they keep that money. So, it just, when you look at that huge campus of BCIT, you might as well say Willingboro built that. When you look at the fact that Benjamin Banneker has been able to buy the old Friends School, Willingboro did that. They now also rent space at the old Corpus Christi School. Willingboro did that because they keep our money, send the kid back. That should not be right. If you're going to send the child back, you send them back with the money that you gave you to educate them. You keep the 2 months, but send the rest of the money back with the child. Nope, doesn't happen. And that's not fair.
Definitely a hot topic. Okay. What else do we have? I'm checking the chats. All right, hot topics. Miss Sonia, do you have something?
Yes. Our seniors in our community. As a veteran service officer, I deal with a lot of widows and widowers in our community, and a lot of them want the tax problem. That's one of them, but keeping repairs on their homes. We have, I know through our office, every now and then we get a different organization that volunteer to assist veterans in Burlington County. And I try to share with what we do in our office, share with our veterans on getting repairs to their homes. How can Willingboro, how can we as a community help our seniors? A lot of people, they've worked so many years and, their money has gotten lost in paying for health care and taxes. How can we help them keep their houses, keep their homes up in repair?
I totally agree with you. It's a shame that this is one of the few countries in the world where we don't value our seniors. We don't value our elderly.
True.
It's just like, we want to toss them away after they're no good for anything. It's sad.
That's true. Definitely. I'm putting this one down as well. And we'll probably have to call you back in, Miss Sonia.
Right.
There's a couple of notes. Jose says, any word on the marketplace and the future use of it?
I haven't heard
As
anything
know
new.
that
I know that
the company in New York still owns it.
they fenced it up, and it's just been that way ever since.
Okay. Not okay, but okay.
Well, I was going to say the
Right.
biggest issue for that was that I believe it was supposed to be an Amazon holding center for the trailers, and that's something the community did come together and fight against.
Yes.
So, and once that was halted, there, as Ms. Pat said, there was a halt. There was nothing. The company still owns it, but it's not moving forward with the plans of it being a trailer depot.
And they had put it up for sale. Then all of a sudden it went off for sale, and the fence went up.
Another comment, Willingboro parents do not know how they are destroying the tax base by sending kids to Banneker and BCIT. BCIT was created to destroy the Willingboro school system, as Willingboro had the best trade programs in the county at that time.
Absolutely.
Wow. What trade programs? I remember mechanic. What else was there?
You had mechanic, you had
Wasn't there
cosmetology.
cosmetology? Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and we had DECA, Distributive Educational Club of America. That's
mhm.
what, when I went to Willingboro, that's what we had. And they introduced students to different career fields.
Mhm.
I think that's something that's Willingboro's lacking.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So are these programs non-existent now in Willingboro?
No,
No.
Well,
But
cosmetology, I think cosmetology they brought back.
It's at
Other than that-
BCIT, right?
in Willingboro, yeah, I think you're right, Miss Pat. They brought the cosmetology,
Really?
but I think both things, from my I wasn't paying attention at the time, and I believe Willingboro had culinary arts or something also. back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, yes.
they
But-
had a photography club. They had they had their own what's that?
TV station. They had
TV
TV.
station.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, TV
Yes, yes.
station. Yes, and when us students at that time, when we were active in those programs, it was less violence.
Mhm.
Students were less frustrated.
Mhm.
And especially when they had the junior ROTC in Willingboro,
Mhm.
people the kids, they got more frustrated without all these programs that kept them they mentally stimulated.
Yep.
When you lose their imagination, you get frustration.
Yep. You're right.
Willingboro High had almost everything BCIT has. From her understanding, Mr. Hesp, an interim superintendent, got rid of those programs. Wow. We're going to have to go back.
No, it was Dr. McMahon. It wasn't Hespy. It was McMahon. He was here for 10 months and decimated our school district in 10 months.
Wow. Wow.
But I would say from a solution side, we had to, not so much against BCIT, at least how I look at it, not so much against BCIT, but let's make sure that, or let's try to get those programs back into our schools. But I understand it. It may not be an easy lift, but if we can have these type of things to draw and maintain students here, that's what we want to do. Because I would like to be solution minded so that we can make a change. But it's going to take, as I said before, it's going to take a commitment to implement, to turn the tide, and to draw more, have retention of our students.
And I think we can find companies out there that would sponsor, because I know they're expensive programs. And I'm pretty sure there's companies out there that will sponsor them.
And maybe we could offer some certificate programs like at the Kennedy Center or someplace like that as well, for those, because everyone is not college bound. And so I think we need to keep all of that in consideration and offer what's needed.
Yeah, at the MUA, we're and hopefully it'll be finished this year, an apprentice program, which will start at the high school and then they go on to the MUA for jobs in the water and wastewater industry.
Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, it is 7:00. We want to thank you first. We can have closing statements, but we want to thank you first for participating in Hot Chocolate, Hot Topics, learning more about Willingboro and what we want to see covered in Willingboro. We just scratched the surface as usual, but hopefully this conversation will continue and we'll get more feedback. If you are listening to this later on and you want to add add some information or your hot topics, please make sure that you hashtag WHYY Borough News. Okay, WHYY Borough News. That way we can see it and we can also respond to those and put that so that the township is also aware of what is of interest by the community. Will, you want to give us some closing statements and we'll go around?
Sure, no doubt. I really appreciate this. Let me try to get my camera on here. No, I really appreciate this platform, and I hope that it continues. We had some great ideas. Miss Nikki Hunt had the idea of community service initiative for our students, and I think that's something I would like to push. And we had the looking at the mortgage default or the scam fraud thing, and also I love the idea with the I believe it's the WMUA with the mentorship program. That's the type of things that I think we should continue to have.
Apprenticeship program.
Yeah, it's an apprenticeship program, so we can have a better just improve our town, but just continue. It's a continual thing. But thanks for having me, and I appreciate it.
Thanks as always, Professor. You have a wealth of knowledge, and Willingboro is fortunate to have you. Thank you so much. Terry.
I just want to thank everyone for being a part of the conversation tonight. You definitely made it what it was, and we appreciate you all. I just want to share that Borough TV is a community-driven operation. I want to make sure that everyone knows that. We welcome photos, videos, articles. If you want to write articles, you can submit them to Borough TV so that we can post them on our platform regarding things that are taking place in our community. Our email address is info@boroughTV.us, and our social media platforms are @BoroughTVUS. Feel free to reach out to us anytime regarding whatever it is that you want to discuss or any issues, any matters of the heart as it pertains to our community, because we're all here for the same reason: to build, to grow, and to unify. So thank you all for being a part of the conversation tonight.
Awesome. Miss Sonia.
I had to get myself off of mute, but yes, I've been listening and learning, and this is a great tool, and thank you.
Thank you. Miss Dawn, do you want to say anything? Nope, she said, thank you, everyone. Great conversation. Miss Pat?
Well, I think this is wonderful. I mean, I hope you continue to do this, so we can find out what the hot topics are and, get some information out there. So thank you, Amy and Terry. This is great.
Awesome. I think Hot Chocolate, Hot Topics is needed. But now what do we do with the information, right? Come on, Willingboro, let's go. Miss Nikki, you want to say anything? She may have to type because I think she was having trouble with her mic before. But once again, to find out more, subscribe to WHYY.org, follow Borough TV. Let's keep the conversation moving. And then let's figure out what action plans we're also going to have as well. Okay. For all of those that might be listening online on Facebook, if you came on and we did not admit you, it's because we had some very creative people, trashy, coming on actually. And so we could not open up the waiting room if we didn't know your name, okay, or see your name, your full name. And even that we had to be careful with. So our apologies there. We definitely wanted to have you here, but let's continue the conversation and hopefully we'll see you at the next one. All right. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful night.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Take care.
Take care.